They say the worst kind of betrayal doesn't come from enemies, but from the ones who once braided your hair and called you sister. And sometimes it arrives dressed in white lace and a smile you used to trust. I'm Lana Pearson, 32, marketing director for a luxury travel brand. Organized, focused, quietly ambitious. For most of my life, I believed in the safe, sensible path, plan, execute, repeat. His smile was all crooked charm. His hands always warm, grounding. Within weeks, we were inseparable. 2 years later, we were planning our future, a fall wedding, vineyard venue, cream and gold decor. She'd been acting distant, claimed it was work stress. Still, we'd grown up inseparable. Or so I thought. I had the career, the apartment, and as of 9 months ago, the perfect man, Tyler Monroe. Tyler insisted I go. You've worked too hard to miss this. 3 from my best friend, Nadia. 4 from Mom. 10 from unknown numbers. 1 from my sister, Mia. I agreed with a strange, silent knot in my stomach. The living room smelled faintly of vanilla and jasmine, Mia's perfume. My wedding dress was gone. My veil, shoes, everything. Still, I kissed him goodbye, boarded my flight, and stepped into the last moment of my old life. We met during a tourism conference in Prague. 3 days before our wedding, I left for a final work presentation in San Diego. When I landed back in New York 2 nights later, my phone was dead. I plugged it in at baggage claim. 17 missed calls. I hadn't spoken to Mia in weeks. When I got home, the front door of my apartment was ajar. I stood frozen in the doorway. Then my phone buzzed. Nadia, I didn't know how to tell ya. It's all over Instagram. Lana, I'm so sorry. I opened the app. There it was. Mia, in my dress, holding my bouquet, standing next to the caption read, "When love refuses to wait, forever starts now." That was the moment everything shattered, but I didn't scream, didn't cry. I just stared at the screen, silent. And then I whispered to myself, all right then, let's play. I didn't cry, not right away. I just stood there in my hallway, the silence pressing in on me like a vacuum. My wedding dress was still missing. My sister's vanilla perfume still clung to the air like a cruel joke. My phone buzzing silently. In my hand, displayed an unholy collage. Amelia, Axel, my dress, my flowers, my life? Asterisk, my fingers trembled as I scrolled through their posts. Photos of my fiancés, no ex-fiancés, beaming in front of a white floral arch, Amelia beside him, her hand proudly displaying the engagement ring I had chosen. She captioned it, asterisk, when love is real, it doesn't wait. Sorry, sis. Asterisk, I sat down. No, I collapsed onto the kitchen floor, knees folding beneath me like a marionette with cut strings. That's when the tears came. Big, silent, body-shaking sobs. The kind that don't scream, they howl in the hollow places no one ever sees. Asterisk for 3 hours, I didn't move. At some point, my phone buzzed again, Christine. Hey, I'm outside. Asterisk, I couldn't find the strength to reply, but a few moments later, there was a knock. A second. Then her voice, muffled through the door, **L, let me in, please. I stood and stumbled to the door. I opened it, and she took one look at me before wrapping her arms around me so tightly I thought I might split in half. She didn't ask anything, just guided me to the couch, tucked a blanket over my shoulders, and sat with me like a human anchor while I unraveled. They planned it, I whispered eventually. They planned it while I was gone. Christine's jaw clenched. I know. I tried calling. I messaged Axel. I told him not to do this. You knew. I looked up, betrayal flashing through me again. No. I suspected Amelia was too quiet. Axel wasn't responding. Something felt off, but I didn't think they'd actually... She swallowed her words, her voice breaking. Do this, I nodded. Not because I believed her, but because I couldn't afford to lose another person. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small envelope. What's this? I asked. I didn't want to show you yet, but it came to my office. Addressed to you. No return label. I opened it, and inside was a photo, a printed picture of Axel and Amelia kissing in my bedroom. The date was marked 2 weeks ago. My breath caught. There was something scribbled on the back in red ink. You never deserved him anyway. Christine grabbed the photo from my hand. Sick cowards. I stood. I couldn't sit anymore. I need to think, I murmured. I need air. I'll go with you. No. Just give me a few minutes. I stepped out into the cold evening air. My bare feet touched the tile of my balcony. The city hummed below, unbothered by my broken heart. I gripped the iron railing, my knuckles white. How long had this been going on? Was it real? Furthermore, just a power play? Had I missed the signs or ignored them because I wanted to believe in a fairy tale? My mind spun with questions and timelines and possibilities, but underneath all of it, a thought began to take root, a seed that grew darker with each passing second. What if this wasn't just betrayal? What if it was a setup? My phone vibrated again. Blocked number. I hesitated, answered. A low, unfamiliar voice spoke. Miss Pierce, I need to speak with you urgently about Amelia and Axel. My voice sharpened. Who is this? I can't say yet, but I believe your sister is in more trouble than you realize. They both are. I have documentation. I hesitated. Why are you calling me? Because the voice said, you're the only one who can bring them down. The line went dead. I stood there for a full minute before I turned and walked back inside. Christine looked up. You okay? No, I said simply. But I'm not done. She tilted her head. Done with what? Letting them win. I moved toward my desk, digging through drawers until I found what I was looking for. A small silver USB. The same one I used to back up business files, the ones Axel once asked about. He'd always been very interested in how I structured my company holdings. And suddenly, I remembered something. A few months ago, I'd joked about naming myself the primary shareholder on paper to shield the company from outside interference. Axel had laughed, but he'd also asked a lot of questions. My stomach turned. I opened my laptop. Asterisk. Christine leaned over. What are you doing? Asterisk. Checking if my company still belongs to me. Asterisk. I typed fast. Accessed encrypted files. Flipped through email threads and contracts. Then I found it. Asterisk. The transfer request. Dated 1 week ago. Not from me. My breath caught again. They tried to steal this too, I whispered. Asterisk. Christine's eyes widened. Your business. Asterisk. I nodded. They wanted everything. Not just my wedding. Not just my dignity. They came for my empire. Asterisk. Christine sat back, stunned. I turned slowly to her, my expression colder now, sharper. I wasn't ready for what came next, I said, but now they won't be either. I didn't sleep that night. Asterisk. While the world spun outside my window, I was wide awake, clicking through financial ledgers, old emails, legal documents, screenshots, one file after another, one memory after another. Asterisk. I'd always kept a tight grip on my company, Pierce and Vale Consulting. It had been my lifeline, the thing I built from scratch. When I was still sleeping on a pull-out sofa in my aunt's apartment. Asterisk. It wasn't just a business. Asterisk. It was proof I didn't need to be rescued by anyone. Especially not by a man like Axa. Asterisk. But now I saw it clearly. He hadn't loved me if he had scouted me. Asterisk. Every business dinner. Every weekend getaway. Even the proposal, it all aligned with key events in my company's growth. Every moment we grew closer was timed with his company's decline. Asterisk. Axel hadn't fallen in love. He had been fishing for a lifeline. And my sister, she was either the second predator in the water. Asterisk. At 4:12 a.m., I found the smoking gun, an internal memo from Harris Technologies. Axel's family's crumbling company. Subject line, private merger consideration, leverage via Pierce Hodgins. Christine was asleep on the couch, her arms hugging a pillow. I didn't wake her. Instead, I pulled out my encrypted folder. The one labeled Vault. Asterisk. Inside were the documents I'd never thought I'd use, backups of my company's share structure, old contracts, provisional rights. Asterisk. And buried within them, one piece of paper with a digital signature from 3 years ago. Clause I had forgotten existed. It was written by Bruno, my mentor, my silent partner, the man who helped me build the business from its early days. We had drafted a power of attorney clause that protected my stake in the company should I ever face coercion or fraudulent intent. Asterisk. And it was still valid. Asterisk. If activated, it would trigger a lockdown of all ownership transfers for 60 days, long enough to investigate and burn anyone trying to take what was mine. Asterisk. At exactly 6 a.m., I sent Bruno a message. Asterisk. Code red. They tried. I need your full support. Asterisk. 3 dots appeared. Then a reply. Asterisk. Already on it. Come in at 9 o'clock. Sharp. We'll fix this. Bring nothing. say nothing. I closed my laptop and leaned back. The rage that had choked me yesterday was gone now. In its place was something sharper, colder, focused. Asterisk. I walked into the bathroom and stared at myself. In the mirror. My eyes were swollen. My hair was a mess. But somewhere inside, a spark had lit and it was starting to spread. Asterisk at 9 a.m. sharp. I walked into Bruno's office. Asterisk. The receptionist nodded as if everything was normal. But Bruno's assistant escorted me straight to the Baca soundproof conference room. Asterisk. Bruno stood there waiting, already surrounded by folders and digital files projected onto a sleek screen. Asterisk. You look like hell, he said gently. Feel worse, I replied. Then let's start making you dangerous. Asterisk. He tapped the screen. Look at this. Axel's been using dummy shell companies to buy out silent shares in your firm. He's been working on this for over a year. Asterisk. I stared at the names. Some I recognized as former clients.
Are you ready?
But others were Amelia's connections. Asterisk. My throat tightened. She helped him, asterisk, or she thinks she's helping him, Bruno said. Either way, he's using her name in multiple transfers. Without full consent, that's a felony. Asterisk. I took a shaky breath. He's hiding behind her. Asterisk. Bruno nodded. The paper trail points to her as the funnel, but all decision-making logs trace back to Axel's digital signature. He clicked again. Another file opened. A hidden ledger. That's when I saw it. $2.4 million. Asterisk siphoned out of my company, disguised as consulting fees, and rerouted to an offshore account. My hand clenched. He took my money to fund their wedding, I whispered. Asterisk. Bruno didn't say anything. He didn't have to. I want to destroy him, I said flatly. He looked up. Then we start here. Asterisk. Over the next 2 hours, we mapped out everything. Legal triggers, emergency board, meetings, PR cover, shareholder backup. Asterisk. This doesn't just end with Axel, Bruno warned. You expose this, you'll take down his family too. They've been covering for him for years. Asterisk. I know. Asterisk. And your sister. Asterisk. That question hung heavy in the air. Asterisk. I didn't answer right away, because the truth was, I didn't know how I felt anymore. Asterisk. We were kids once, sharing shoes, stealing makeup, giggling over celebrity crushes, and now, asterisk, now she wore my dress, slept in my bed, smiled in my life, like it had always belonged to her. But maybe it had never belonged to either of us. I exhaled sharply. If she gets caught in the blast, she chose where to stand. Asterisk. Bruno gave a slow, respectful nod. Then let me show you the detonator. Asterisk. Later that afternoon, I received a private DM from an anonymous account. Just one sentence. Asterisk. Check the photos. She didn't post. Attached was a link. I clicked it. My breath caught there. In a hidden album were pictures from the pre-wedding party one held just days ago. I hadn't been invited, of course, but it wasn't the exclusion that stunned me. It was the faces in the crowd. Asterisk 3 members of my board, one junior executive from my financial team. And at the center, Amelia and Axel, arms entwined, toasting with champagne. I zoomed in on a detail I almost missed. In Amelia's hand was a document Asterisk, my company's logo was printed in the top corner. My vision went white hot with realization. She signed the leak, I muttered. Asterisk. Christine looked over from her seat on the sofa. She had returned home with me after Bruno's. I hadn't told her everything yet but enough. Asterisk, wait. What is that? She asked. Asterisk, the paperwork, I said coldly. She's not just the sidekick, she's the co-conspirator. Asterisk, that night. I called my lawyer, then my bank, then my publicist. Everything began moving. Documents were frozen. Statements were drafted. Court filings were prepped. Asterisk. The next morning, I mailed a single sealed envelope to Amelia's apartment, the one she now shared with Axel. Asterisk. Inside was a copy of the power of attorney clause, a list of financial transactions under her name, and a note. You didn't just steal my fiancé. You signed your name to my war. By the third day, Axel finally called me. I let it go to voicemail. His voice was strained. Ellie, please, we need to talk. You don't understand. I never meant for it to go this far. We can fix this. Please. You have no idea what's coming. Oh, but I did? Because I was what was coming? And by the end of this, the whole world would know it? Stood by the window that evening as rain began to fall sharp, clean lines across the glass. It was the same kind of rain that poured the day I came home and found my wedding gone. Asterisk, but this time, I didn't flinch. This time, I welcomed the storm, because I had just remembered who I was. Asterisk, not a victim, not a sister. Asterisk, not even a woman. Left at the altar, I was the storm, and I was done waiting for apologies. Asterisk. Now, it was all or nothing. I didn't sleep that night. The city outside my window pulsed with neon lights and the distant echo of life going on as if mine hadn't just shattered. But inside, I was awake, focused, rewired. The heartbreak was still there, yes, but it had crystallized into something sharp, something useful. Asterisk, it was time to stop reacting. Asterisk, and start unmaking everything they had built behind my back. Asterisk, the next morning, I wore black. Asterisk, not because I was mourning, but because war required uniformity of purpose. Asterisk, I started with the bank. Asterisk, it had taken me just 3 texts to secure a quiet meeting with my personal banker, a woman named Jasmine who always greeted me like I was royalty. Miss Olia, she said, smiling as she led me into a private room. To what do I owe the pleasure? Asterisk, I laid the power of attorney papers on the table, documents I'd prepared months ago for legal reasons, but never used. I need a transaction report. All accounts under both my name and the shared investment portfolio with Adrian. I want to know what's been moved, when, and to where. Asterisk, Jasmine blinked once, then nodded. I didn't have to say anything else. 30 minutes later, I stared at the highlighted entries. 3 large withdrawals, transferred to a shadow account I'd never approved, signed using a digital key only. Adrian and I had access to. Asterisk, except this one. Had his thumbprint alone. Send me digital copies, I said, standing. Of course, Jasmine replied. And Miss Aaliyah, whatever this is, I hope you come out on top. Asterisk, I offered a faint smile. Oh, Jasmine, I'm not hoping anymore. I'm ensuring It asterisk back home. I sat at my desk and opened a folder I'd left untouched for over a year. Dot asterisk inside were emails, screenshots, text messages, Adrian's quiet inconsistencies, and Layla's oddly timed visits, moments I had brushed off as coincidence, all of it. Right there, dot asterisk. It was the kind of file you only build if you're someone who senses betrayal before it happens, even if your heart refuses to admit it. Now, it would serve as evidence, but that wasn't the twist. Dot asterisk. The twist came in the form of an email I'd forgotten about, a forwarded conversation from Layla's old assistant months ago, when she was still working with a boutique wedding planner. Asterisk subject line. Vendor conflict. Body. Hi, Ms. Layla. Confirming the venue reservation for February 10th under the name Ms. Layla Noor. And Mr. Adrian Kaleem. You mentioned it's a surprise celebration. February 10th, my original wedding date. Dot asterisk. She had booked my venue with my fiancé 2 weeks before he even proposed. I laughed. That low, breathy, stunned kind of laugh that comes when you stop being shocked. So this wasn't an accident. This wasn't weakness. This was calculated. And if they were capable of planning my betrayal, then I was capable of planning their reckoning. Dot asterisk 2 days later. I walked into a dinner party I was never supposed to attend. Asterisk. It was Layla's engagement dinner, a masquerade of wealth and smiles. Thrown in the same rooftop restaurant Adrian and I had once declared our favorite spot. I arrived late, intentionally. All eyes turned when I entered alone, in a blood-red silk gown that whispered against the marble floors with every step. Layla's face drained of color. Adrian's jaw tightened. A hush fell over the room. I wasn't expecting you, Layla managed, clutching her champagne flute like a lifeline. Asterisk, I smiled sweetly. Oh, darling. I wasn't invited. But then again, neither were your morals. Asterisk, the tension snapped like a pulled string. Guests turned their heads. Phones slid discreetly out of clutches. Dot asterisk. Adrian stepped forward, hands raised. Aliyah, don't do this. Asterisk. Do what? Exactly. I tilted my head. Crash the engagement you planned while we were still together. Wear the dress I bought with you. Or maybe just breathe inconveniently. His mouth opened, then closed. Silence. Asterisk. Layla tried to cut in. This isn't the place. Asterisk. You're right, I said, lowering my voice. The place was 2 months ago in my apartment when I was away for the week. You two chose to play house in my bed. There was a collective gasp. Layla's assistant, the one who'd forwarded me that old venue confirmation, looked at her boss now like she was something rotting. Dot asterisk. I think I've said enough, I whispered. But I hadn't. Not yet. The real storm came 3 nights later. At the city's biggest annual fundraiser, where Adrian's company was being awarded for ethical innovation. The irony made me laugh out loud in the car. On the way there, I wore a dress that shimmered like liquid vengeance. My lawyer walked beside me, holding a slim folder. Asterisk, the press was everywhere. Dot flashes popped. But the real show began when the MC called Adrian to the stage. Asterisk, he spoke confidently, charming the room with well-rehearsed words. Behind him, a slideshow played company milestones, happy employee faces, and then, click, a slide that wasn't supposed to be there. Asterisk an account screenshot, bank details, transactions labeled unauthorized, emails with forged signatures, a digital footprint that was impossible to deny. The MC stuttered. The crowd shifted, murmuring. Asterisk Adrian froze mid-sentence. That slide, that's not. And then I stepped onto the stage. My apologies, I said, addressing the confused room. There's been a last-minute update to the evening's program, a correction, you could say. Asterisk Adrian turned to me, wild-eyed. Asterisk Adrian Kaleem, I continued, is currently under investigation for misappropriating $3.2 million in client funds. We have audio recordings, emails, and sworn statements. And this, I held up the folder, is just the beginning. Gasps. Whispers. Asterisk camera flashes again, but this time with sharper purpose. I turned to the audience, and perhaps most disappointing, I said, is that he wasn't even original? Turns out, he's pulled the same scheme in 2 other startups always, disappearing just before the fallout. A beat of silence. Then applause. Asterisk scattered. Then growing. It wasn't about vengeance anymore. It was about truth. Asterisk later that night, I sat in a quiet corner of the balcony when Layla found me. Asterisk, she wasn't angry. She looked broken. You set me up, she whispered. No, I said. I exposed him. You just happened to be standing too close. Asterisk, she sat down beside me. He told me you were cold, unfaithful, that you didn't want the wedding. He made me believe. She trailed off. I let the silence hold. Asterisk finally. She spoke again. He transferred the money into accounts under my name, didn't he? Asterisk, yes, I said quietly. He did. Asterisk, her eyes welled up. Am I going to jail? Asterisk, I turned to her, letting the weight of the moment sit between us. That depends on whether you help bring him down or go down with him. She nodded slowly, tears running unchecked. Everything she had wanted was slipping. Asterisk, because he had never loved her. Either. The night ended with her handing me a flash drive, one that contained a recorded conversation between her and Adrian, proof of his manipulation. That was the nail in the coffin. The final weapon? The end of his game, and the beginning of mine. Final line to escalate tension. Now, it was all or nothing. Rain pelted the windows of the boardroom like war drums. The room was silent, every seat filled by faces twisted in confusion, suspicion, and veiled hostility. At the head of the table, I sat calm, red silk blouse, sleek black slacks, and a pearl pin Axel had once gifted me when he still pretended to love me. Asterisk, across from me sat Axel, his jaw tight, knuckles white on the polished oak. Amelia fidgeted beside him, visibly unraveling. She hadn't slept. Mascara remnants smudged below her swollen eyes. Asterisk, I took a deep breath and stood. Asterisk, let's begin. Asterisk Bruno, my legal strategist, connected his laptop to the overhead projector. As the screen lit up, murmurs rippled across the room. Asterisk slide 1, wire transfers. Slide 2, bank account statements under Amelia's name. Slide 3. Internal company reports Axel had signed off all fabricated. Asterisk, I spoke clearly. Over the past 16 months, $14.2 million have been funneled from Harris Industries into dummy corporations and hidden personal accounts. Most of these were structured under Ms. Amelia Pierce without her full knowledge. Asterisk gasps. Confused glances. Axel shot up. Asterisk, this is a lie, he shouted. She knew everything. I didn't, Amelia whispered, eyes wide. You said it was for our honeymoon fund. You made me sign things. Asterisk, you're just trying to protect yourself. Now, he hissed. Asterisk. I believed you, she cried. I believed you when you said Ellie was sleeping with her mentor, that she didn't deserve you. I believed every word. The room grew colder. I stepped forward, holding the board members in my gaze. My acquisition of controlling shares wasn't just strategic, it was necessary. This company was drowning. You were all being lied to. Asterisk, Bruno added. This embezzlement scheme wasn't Axel's first. We have files from 2 other firms where he ran similar operations before quietly exiting. Asterisk and older board members stood, eyes burning into Axel. You stole from your family's legacy, from all of us. Asterisk Axel turned toward me, his voice cracking. You set this up. Asterisk no, I replied, softly but firmly. I just stopped covering for you. Asterisk Amelia's lips parted. What do you mean? Asterisk I faced her fully now. The betrayal didn't start with you taking Axel. It started long before that, when we were kids, and you switched my college acceptance letter with a rejection because you couldn't handle me leaving. Asterisk Amelia's face turned pale. That's not true. Asterisk I pulled out the letter, the real one, laminated, kept, safe for years. Asterisk I found it 2 years ago in Mom's attic. You never expected anyone to go through her old things. Asterisk Bruno chimed in. This means she would have been eligible for Oxford's business school. The whole course of her life shifted because of this. Asterisk I smiled, not with glee, but a kind of sad triumph. You didn't just take my You've been trying to erase me your whole life. Asterisk tears streamed down her face. She sank into her seat. Asterisk, you never trusted that you could shine on your own, I continued. So you tried to snuff me out. Asterisk, the chairman stood. I move to remove Axel Harris as acting CEO effective immediately. I seconded. Another echoed. The vote was swift. Unanimous. Asterisk Axel exploded. You'll regret this. All of you. Security walked in. You were never going to win, I said, voice quiet. Because you never built anything. You just took. Asterisk as they dragged him out. He locked eyes with me. This isn't over, Ellie. Asterisk, it already is. Asterisk, outside the boardroom, I found Amelia sitting alone on a bench. Asterisk, I didn't know about the letter. She said weakly. Asterisk, I believe you didn't remember. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. Asterisk, I thought he loved me, she said, staring at her hands. I thought he chose me. Asterisk, no, I whispered. He used you because you were willing to be used. Asterisk, she looked up, face raw. Do you hate me? I hesitated. No, I said at last, but I don't trust you either. Asterisk, a week later, I stood alone at what was supposed to be the company's annual gala, an event Axel had planned to rebrand himself publicly. Asterisk now it had become a quiet press conference, a rescue announcement. Asterisk as cameras clicked, I read from a polished statement. Asterisk under new leadership. Harris Industries is committed to integrity, growth, and truth. We've stumbled, yes, but we rise. We do better. We rebuild. Asterisk flashes went off. My voice never wavered. Asterisk later that night, I sat in my apartment with Christy. She poured us both a glass of wine. "You did it," she said. I nodded, exhaling deeply. "It still hurts." Asterisk, "Of course it does," she replied. "But pain doesn't mean failure. It just means you cared." I walked over to the closet. The wedding dress still hung inside, untouched. I touched the sleeve gently. "Should I burn it?" I asked, half joking. Asterisk, "No," she said. "Let it stay. A reminder." Asterisk, I looked at my reflection. Strong, clear, eyed. Asterisk, "No," I repeated. "A symbol." Asterisk, in the end, I didn't just lose a fiancé. I lost an illusion. And in its place, I found myself. Sometimes the best revenge is simply becoming untouchable. 6 months later, Asterisk spring had arrived like a soft apology. The cold weight of betrayal had melted. Not entirely, but enough to breathe freely again. Asterisk my mornings began with silence now, not the kind that screams in loneliness, but the kind that soothes. Peaceful, earned. Asterisk I stood by the glass window of the new Harris Industries headquarters, a sleeker, smarter version of the past, just like me. The name on the building hadn't changed, but everything behind it had. Asterisk, Amelia had quietly moved abroad after the board exonerated her of criminal liability. We hadn't spoken since. Asterisk Axel. He'd accepted a plea deal, minimal jail time, but his reputation irreparable, a ghost in the corridors of his family legacy. Asterisk Christine now ran our PR division. Bruno was head of legal. And me. Asterisk I was CEO. Not the woman behind the curtain anymore. I was the curtain, the stage, and the play itself. Asterisk 1. Evening. As I walked through the nearly empty office floor, I passed by the executive conference room. The lights were off, but the echoes of the past lingered. I stood there for a moment, remembering that boardroom day, Axel's outburst, Amelia's tears, the shaking hands that once held knives behind their backs. I didn't feel anger anymore, not even pride. Asterisk, just clarity. Asterisk. Later that night, I wrote a letter, not to send, just to feel. Asterisk. To the girl I used to be. I'm sorry they tried to silence you. I'm proud you spoke. Anyway, asterisk, you didn't deserve betrayal, but you deserve the fire that came after. And now you are your own home. I folded it and placed it in the back of my journal. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. Asterisk, I slept peacefully. They thought they were ending my story. They didn't realize they were just finishing theirs